Picture this. It's a crisp autumn evening. The wind is howling outside, and the power just went out. The grocery store down the road is closed. The roads, they're flooded. But in your kitchen, you're calm because you already have everything you need right in your pantry. Today, we're diving into 17 pantry staples that will keep you warm, fed, and worry-free through the autumn storms. And along the way, I'll share some common mistakes that people make, the problems I've seen firsthand, and the budget-friendly solutions that will help you prepare smarter, not harder. Hi friends, I'm Lisa Sutton, and I believe that real peace of mind starts in the most important place in your home, your kitchen. Think about it. We insure our cars, our homes, even our health. We plan for retirement. We save for a rainy day. But what about the one place we turn to every single day for comfort and security? Our pantry. This podcast isn't about fear, it's about freedom. Freedom from stress when life throws you a curveball, whether it's a snowstorm, a job loss, or just a week too busy for grocery runs. A well-prepared pantry means you can always take care of the ones you love. Here on Pantry Preparedness, I'll share simple, practical strategies to help you stock smarter, store better, and turn your pantry into the best insurance policy you'll ever own. From saving money to stretching meals, you'll learn how to build resilience right at home. So subscribe today wherever you listen to podcasts and join me on Pantry Preparedness with Lisa Sutton, because a well-stocked pantry isn't just about food. It's about security, comfort, and the confidence to face whatever comes your way. The weather has been wacky all year long, and I don't expect that to change direction at all for autumn. So we're going to talk about autumn storm preps and why they matter. Because autumn storms bring high winds, flooding, sudden cold snaps. They have, wet ground plus high winds. You know what that equals? That equals trees down, which leads into long power outages. Deliveries are delayed by days because trucks can't get through. And I'm not talking about the Amazon guy or gal. I'm talking about the semis that stock your grocery store or that bring your medication to the pharmacies. Those all get impacted also. People make the same kind of mistakes, and so you shouldn't be concerned if you have done them, because now you know what to do to not do them in the future. We all know it because it's got a title, the milk and bread run. Yeah, every time there's a storm, there's the milk and bread run. They sell out of bread, they sell out of milk, any of those little comfort items that people think, oh my gosh, I have to have it. So don't wait until the storm warnings hit to shop. Shelves are already empty by that point. Buying only perishable foods to cook before the power goes out? Yeah, no, that never works out well. And then forgetting about water and beverages is another mistake. But I have solutions for you. I do. Always have a 2-week pantry buffer. At least, if you do nothing else, make a 2-week pantry buffer. Stock foods that can be eaten hot or cold. There's a ton of them. And keep a water storage plan. This is so important to make sure that you've got water. At least 2 gallons per person per day. If you don't have access to water, you've got problems. We're going to break this into 3 categories. One is ready-to-eat essentials. Now remember, only stock these if you eat them today. Don't stock food that you're not familiar with. Don't stock food that you don't like, because it really doesn't matter how hungry you are. If you don't like it, you're not going to eat it. And so then you're just wasting money, and you could spend that on stuff that you actually do consume. So the ready-to-eat essentials, no cooking required, right, is like canned tuna, chicken, or salmon, whether it's commercially canned or home canned. Either one is perfect. The problem is they're heavy to store and they can taste bland by themselves. But if you add spices or mayo packets or crackers for variety, that's covered. If you happen to have some bread, then you can make a sandwich also. It's great. Nut butters and seed butters are a second thing. The problem with these is that, there's oil separation or allergies that, some people have, but The solutions are, if you stir it well before you consume it, it's fine. Natural seed butters and nut butters, the oil does separate. That's a natural occurrence. That's a good thing, actually. Okay, so just stir it really well before you consume it, and avoid anything that anyone in your house is allergic to. That's a good rule of thumb. Now, number 3 is crackers or some kind of shelf-stable bread, like tortillas are much longer lasting on your shelf than normal bread is, but either one works. So you can definitely put those up. The problem is, like bread and crackers, technically they can go stale quickly, but crackers will last longer than bread. You can have those for a few months. Bread, if it's a good bread, will be gone in a couple days. But they're not meant for forever, you know, so you do have to rotate through those quickly. The solution for that is to vacuum seal or buy smaller packets to rotate. If you regularly eat tortillas, then definitely have extra on hand, because you know that you will rotate through those. And the bread, have an extra loaf, you know, when the weather starts getting wonky. It's good to have extra, but not huge quantities of extra that you will not be able to consume before it goes bad. So be familiar with that. Most crackers will last you quite a few months, not years. Doesn't matter if you vacuum seal them. Back in the day, I trusted somebody who said, vacuum seal crackers into mason jars and they will last for years. No, they don't. They don't. They smell like paint thinner when you open them up a year later. And I dumped a bunch of saltine crackers for that reason. Kind of bummed me out there. Dried fruit is another great thing to have on your shelves. Raisins, cran raisins, figs, dates, any of those kind of dried fruit are really, really good to have around. The problem is that they might have too much sugar for you to eat a large quantity, or they might clump in humidity. But if you have them in an airtight container, the humidity is a non-issue. The sugar means you're going to have to portion control. That's just the way that it works. So portion them into containers that only have the amount that you're allowed to eat, or have a way to measure them out so that you're only consuming what you should. Pair them with nuts for balance if you're not allergic to nuts. It's a great way to do the protein along with the carbs, and it kind of balances it out and it fills you up better. Shelf-stable snack bars is number 5. The problem is that if it's really warm where you live and you don't have some kind of control on your temperature where you store them, they can melt or they can get pretty hard, and you don't want to do that. I love protein bars. We have them around here on occasion because they're a quick meal replacement for me when I'm super busy. And sometimes they take care of that sweet treat craving that you get, but you want to make sure that you're rotating through them at least every 6 months. Make sure that you're storing them in cooler spots. They're a great thing to have on hand if it is something that you already consume. Having that protein without a whole bunch of extra sugar, as far as protein bars goes, is great. Granola bars and other snack bars are great if you're not watching the protein levels or the carb levels. They will definitely get through in a pinch, and they'll make you feel a little bit better just for the comfort purpose, if nothing else. Next, we're going to talk about some heat-required comfort foods, because sometimes you just need it, right? Shelf-stable soups and stews are fantastic to have in your pantry for any kind of storm prep. The problem is, if they're commercially canned, there's normally pretty high sodium, and the cans can get a little heavy if you put a whole bunch of them up. But a simple solution is to dilute it more with water, add rice to stretch the servings. If you like those chunky soups, having those over mashed potatoes or over rice is a great way to turn that into a complete meal, and it tastes really good. Next is instant mashed potatoes. This is where this comes in handy for those chunky soups, right? They can be pretty bland if they're eaten plain. I get it. So are potatoes. But if you mix in canned chicken or chili for flavor, you know, that makes it better. Add in some butter powder to enhance that flavor, or serve it with something that you've got jarred up, like your soups or your stews. Number 8 is pasta and shelf-stable sauces. There's a ton of these out there. The problem is they require fuel and or water, okay? But you can use instant pasta that cooks in just a couple minutes. I think rice is a little bit easier. And again, if you've watched me on the channel cook pasta, I bring water up to a boil and then I put the pasta in, I put the lid on, and I turn off the heat. And within 10 minutes, typically, your pasta is cooked beautifully. So that's another solution you might want to do if you have a way to bring that water up to a boil. Next is rice, either instant or parboiled or just plain old white rice, okay? Typically, the problem is that regular rice has kind of long cook times, but it's not really an issue if you have some backup of like instant minute rice, that kind of thing. Have the instant or the boil and bag options for quick prep. I'm not a boil and bag person so much because then somebody else is determining the quantity. But if you have some instant rice, which I highly recommend for those quick meal nights, then it takes no time at all to measure out how much you need, and it takes no time at all to refresh it and make it a really good meal. Next is canned chili or beans if you're not allergic. So the problem can be, especially if you're in an enclosed area, that beans can be gas producing, not kid friendly for some. I get it, I do, but just don't go overboard and you'll be fine. Having canned chili or beans gives you that protein, gives you that meal. Throw it over some of that instant rice if you want to change it up a little bit. It makes you warm during a difficult solution. I don't know anybody that doesn't like chili, but I'm sure there's somebody out there. So canned chili or beans, another great way. You don't have to cook the beans from scratch, right? That takes a long time. If you've already got them canned up, whether it's home canned or store-bought, it's fine. It's a great thing. Just make sure to rinse before cooking. And when it comes to kids, you can mash them up, the beans, into like a dip for kids, and they can dip their tortilla shells or whatever into it. And it's a lot more kid friendly. Add a little bit more cumin to it or something. They'll be happy as all get out. So the wind is blowing, the power is out, the storms, they are a rock in the house, right? What do you need? You need some morale boosting extras. I don't care if you're 12 or 120, boosting the morale is big during these difficult situations. So look at hot chocolate mix if you like hot chocolate. It's normally very easily overlooked. Hot chocolate is one of those things you just don't really think about that often. But it's a perfect morale booster in cold weather. It's a good thing to have some on hand. Instant is perfect for this kind of situation. You just have to heat up some water and add it in there. And if you get some of those little mini marshmallows on the side, you can load up on those too. Next is coffee and tea because, well, coffee is life, and I know for some of you, tea is also. The problem is that you need filters and you need heat, but there are ways around that. If you can heat up water, you can make tea. You can just put the tea right in there and then filter it out, okay? And if you drink coffee, they have the pour over method that works, or your French press, that works really good too. And it's not a huge issue. So just make sure that you have what you need to make the coffee or the tea if the power goes out, so that you can still have that comfort drink. Because I know coffee, that's necessary around these parts. Another morale boosting extra is baking mixes. So if you use these, that's a great thing, okay, if they're already like the prepackaged muffin mixes or pancake mixes, that kind of thing. The problem is they typically need eggs and milk. But if you keep powdered eggs and powdered milk in your pantry, you have solved that problem 100%. Won't miss a beat, won't taste a difference. It's great. And that applies even if you don't use the mixes, the pre-made mixes, and you just have the ingredients. Those are just 2 more ingredients stored in a shelf-friendly way. It makes all the difference in the world. And because you never know, some people have gas, some people have electric, some people have both. Make sure that you have a way to make these should you have a power outage. Muffins, I could probably fake it in my grill, but pancakes are super easy over the wood stove or over a fire. It's easy to make. Muffins are a little more challenging, but there's a way to do it. You can do it. Shelf-stable or powdered milk is something that I just firmly believe in. I'm not a milk drinker, but my husband is. And so I make sure that I've got it around in case of emergency. For one, his coffee creamer. For two, his consumption. He only drinks a cup a day with dinner, right? And three, because I use it when I bake. And there's just some things that you have to add milk to make them better. It's not a flavor that's loved by everyone, the powdered milk, and I get that, but there are all kinds of ways to improve it, adding a little bit of vanilla to it, or, you know, some kind of flavored chocolate, turn it into chocolate milk. So you can use it in cooking and baking instead of drinking. It definitely is a huge help to have around. Next is seasonings and spices. You've heard me say rice and beans, rice and beans. We don't like rice and beans. Okay. And how many different ways can you cook rice and beans? I'll tell you, a lot of different ways, because it is 100% dependent on the seasoning and spices that you add to it. You can make that into 7 different meals for the week just by changing up the seasonings and the spices. People forget how flavor improves morale. So this is still a morale booster. Being able to have that flavor that you like makes all the difference. So seasonings and spices, and they do keep longer than you think. If you buy them in bulk, just put whatever you're not putting directly on your spice rack into a Mylar bag or a mason jar and vacuum seal it. Make it airtight, keep it cool, dark, and dry, just like everything else in your pantry, and it will last you a very long time. I'm talking years, okay? So it just makes sure you have to store it properly in order to have it when you need it the most. Keeping salt, pepper, garlic powder, cinnamon, cumin, whatever your favorite spices are, make sure you've got a backup. Next is honey, because honey is so sweet. The problem is it crystallizes. That's not a problem. If it crystallizes, that means it's real, okay? So the easy way to take care of crystallized honey is to warm gently to restore. Take that jar or that container and put it into a pot of warm water, not hot, warm water, and watch it, okay? Because if you put that plastic container into hot water like that, you could melt the thing on the bottom of the pot, and you don't want to do that. But warm it gently to restore it. It's a natural sweetener, and it's a preservative. Honey, yes, for the win. Next is juice boxes or electrolyte drinks. I've been talking about electrolyte drinks a lot this summer, it feels like, because you can become dehydrated super simple. And it's not just a matter of putting more water into your body. You also need to have those minerals going into your body in order to function properly. So the problem is that juice boxes or electrolyte drinks can be expensive and bulky, you know, but if you buy the powdered mixes, you can save a ton of space and you can actually save money. And you can make it to your preference. If it's normally too strong for you, you can thin it out by adding more water, or vice versa. Are you ready for some menu ideas from these staples? Because that's normally where I know some people, including myself sometimes, my brain locks up and goes, you want me to do what with what? Why would I store this? What would I use it for? We're gonna definitely take a look at that. So for breakfast, you can make some pancakes from the mix that you have stored and just drizzle a little bit of honey over it, right? Oatmeal with dried fruit, the bomb. Crackers plus nut butter plus a juice box. That's the breakfast of champions right there. For lunch, tuna salad on crackers, instant mashed potatoes with chili or rice, yeah. Pasta with sauce and seasonings, nice, good stuff. When you're looking at dinner, rice plus canned chicken plus vegetables makes a wonderful meal. Just heat it up, mix it all together, and you've got a great thing. Soups and bread at night. Oh God, it's soup season almost here. Well, the weather's telling us it's practically here. So soup and bread, that's a great thing. Pancakes and hot chocolate as a comfort dinner. Who doesn't love breakfast for dinner, right? Kids get bored with repetitive meals, and I know that. So the simple solution is to rotate flavorings. Add cinnamon to the oatmeal, garlic to the mashed potatoes. You know, there's different ways to do it so that they don't think they're eating the same thing all the time. We've got some extra problems and fixes for you in your pantry, something you want to keep stock on because especially with the storms, coming up for fall and winter and whatever is coming our way, because who knows anymore, you want to make sure that you can address any problems that you might run across. A common problem is cans rusting in damp basements. Now, a lot of people will think, I have a basement, this is fantastic. Not always, because sometimes the humidity is more in that basement, and so that will impact your food storage. Definitely store your food off the concrete, okay, on shelves and pallets. And if you have a way to dehumidify, definitely take a look at doing that. You can typically find testers for humidity that you can put in your basement to see exactly where it's at. It's a good thing to know how humid it is if you're storing your food down there. Another problem is expired snack bars that no one eats. I bought the multi-pack and no one will eat these ones, right? So the solution really is to rotate every 6 months. Let the kids test the stock. They'll feel like they're doing everyone in the family a favor, okay? And you'll be able to tell which ones you actually want to have in the house. But remember to keep an eye on the dates because they do go out of stock pretty quickly. Another one is too much sodium from canned foods, and I get this. They are offering a lot of alternatives with lower sodium, so that's something to look at. If you are a home food preservationist and you can, then you can create your soups and stews and everything without all that salt. It's not put in there for part of the preservation, it's put in there for taste, and so you can adjust that to where you want it. But if you do have some canned food that has too much salt, it's really simple. If it's soup or veggies, that kind of thing, rinse the veggies or the beans with water. Just rinse it. It'll take not all of it out, but a good portion of the salt out. And then you can also stretch the soups with rice or potatoes, which will then also thin out the salt. The total amount will still be there, but you may not eat as much of it because it's paired with the filling rice or potatoes. Also, another problem is running out of fuel to cook. That's a hard one. I get it. Stock no-cook options and have a camp stove with extra fuel. If you live in an apartment or someplace that you can't have a camp stove, a fondue pot is something I have been recommending for over a decade. A simple fondue pot with either tea lights or a sterno can to heat it will heat up your food or your water to the degree that you need to have something comfortable or edible. It'll make all the difference. Can you put on a 4-course meal with a fondue pot? Probably not, but you can heat up some soup. You can heat up some chicken mixed in with some cream of something soup and some vegetables, and you have an unconstructed casserole. It really is a great thing to do. They have different options all over the place. If you do stock things like the camp stove or your barbecue, which the barbecue is a great idea, but if the weather's really bad outside, you're not going to want to be outside trying to cook in that, and you don't want to bring the grill inside. So finding ways to do it inside without a propane tank is a good thing. If you can be outside because it's calmed down, then make sure that you've got an extra propane tank because propane does not go bad. You can store it for years and years, unlike gasoline, which will go bad. Even though you can extend its life with a few things, that's something else that you have to stock just in case. The next problem is overbuying odd foods that your family won't eat. At some point or another, we have all been guilty of this. Well, I saw it on YouTube or I heard it on this podcast, and so we should be stocking it. Not if nobody in your family eats it. Then you are literally throwing away money. So the simple solution is to only stock what your family already enjoys. If your family already enjoys certain things that you normally get fresh, try introducing shelf-stable versions of the same food. Kind of mix it in together or just serve it without, making a big production out of it and see what they say. Because having fresh food is a luxury, especially during difficult times. Money saving menu ideas, because it's all about saving some money. And a lot of these ideas that we've discussed so far today have definitely been inexpensive ways to handle difficult situations. So some of the ideas for saving money on your menu ideas is to buy in bulk when you can. Bulk bags of rice, pasta, you can repackage them into jars or into Mylar. They take up less room that way, and that way they are safe from uninvited hitchhikers, okay? DIY pancake mix or muffin mixes are great, because if you do it yourself, I have a recipe on my YouTube channel, you can not worry about them exploding or going bad in the box, because you mix the fat content in afterwards, and it makes life a lot easier. And you can create so many things. Making dumplings, you know, with a biscuit mix, you can easily make dumplings. You can make skillet biscuits. You don't have to have an oven. Wonderful way to save money and not throw it away because it sits there going bad. Now, another one is using a store brand as far as canned goods go. Sometimes you can save 30 to 40% by going with those. You may have to doctor them a little bit. That's up to you, but for the most part, they're the same thing. So definitely take a look at your store brands to see if you can save some money. Watch for post-holiday clearance items, especially this time of year. This time of year, you're going to get pumpkin. You're going to get baking items for less. You're going to get Halloween candy, okay? Milk chocolate, dark chocolate, that stuff stores forever in an airtight container. You want to make sure to rotate everything regularly. And you guys know I say this all the time, but if you rotate regularly, it prevents waste and saves you money. I know that sometimes it's just not a lot of fun. I absolutely get it. Before we go any further, I want to say thank you very much and tell you about our sponsor, which is me. Yes, because we have a great book out, Pantry Preparedness, the best insurance money can buy. You can find it on Amazon. What if your pantry was the best insurance you could buy? Not just for storms or empty shelves, but for everyday peace of mind. Pantry Preparedness, the best insurance money can buy, by Lisa Sutton, is your step-by-step guide to creating a pantry that protects your family no matter what life throws your way. This isn't about panic or hoarding. It's definitely not. It's about calm, sensible planning. Inside, you'll discover simple steps to build a 30-day, 3-month, or even a 1-year pantry. Budget-friendly strategies to stock up without overspending. Shelf life tips and storage methods that really work. Proven systems to rotate food so nothing goes to waste. If you've ever worried about rising grocery prices, noticed store shelves running empty, wanted to be ready for the unexpected, this book gives you the confidence, the tools, and the peace of mind to be prepared. You can get your copy on Amazon today by using the link in the show notes of this podcast, because food security isn't about fear, it's about freedom. And by the way, with the holidays coming up, this book also makes a thoughtful gift for your adult children, new homemakers, or anyone that you want to encourage. Teaching someone how to prepare is one of the most loving things you can do. And we are back. So today's question is, what is the one autumn storm pantry item that you absolutely can't live without? You can email me, you can message me on Instagram, you can drop a comment on the YouTube channel, or you can comment wherever you are listening to this podcast. I love hearing your essentials, because the hive mentality is amazing, and you may prompt me or somebody else to think, oh yes, I forgot about that. That would be a good thing to add. Now, just as a really quick recap, okay? You want to make sure that you have some kind of canned protein. You want to make sure you have some kind of nut butter or seed butter, crackers or shelf-stable bread, dried fruit, shelf-stable snack bars, shelf-stable soups or stews, pasta and shelf-stable sauce, rice, whether it's instant or parboiled, canned chili or beans is huge. Don't forget about those morale boosters, hot chocolate, tea and coffee, baking mixes. Powdered milk is huge. Seasoning and spices, honey, juice boxes, or electrolyte drinks, because those 17 simple categories will help you get through a difficult time. So my challenge for you today is to pick 3 from today's list and add them to your pantry this week if you don't have them. Trust me, when the storms roll in, you will be glad you did. Thank you for joining us for another podcast, another episode of Pantry Preparedness with Lisa Sutton. I look forward to chatting with you next Sunday, every single Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The episodes should drop. They should. I'm still kind of new at this. Until next time, everybody, be safe. Keep stacking it to the rafters, my friends.